All right, so short week. We know kickoff is some 56, 57 hours away according to Murph. So we got to maximize every one of these hours, every one of these walkthroughs that we're having, the practice, meetings. That's what you have to do on a Thursday night to get ready to go. I think the guys have really responded well to this week and what the schedule looks like and those type of things. Great challenge playing the Steelers on Thursday night. Well-coached team, great players, offense, defense, and special teams. So we have to have a great week here to get ready for that game. With that, I'll take any questions.
What's going on left tackle?
Just going to continue to work through that, and we'll see you on Thursday.
Okay, would Christian be an option, or is he more of a, brand new?
Yeah, I'd say
not new to you guys,
not new to us. I'd say that's unlikely. But whether or not he's up, we'll see. But he won't be starting.
Do you expect Jed to practice today?
He's going to try.
Last week, we were talking to some of the players, and the words they used, they're praying for a miraculous recovery for JOK. So can you give us an update on his?
Yeah, no update yet. I know he's got 2 more games on IR, and we'll update you when appropriate, but he's doing well.
Steelers team, and I don't think it's probably not just this year, but it feels like they find ways to win even if they don't play great. Last week they didn't score a touchdown. What do you think it's about them that enables them to do that?
I think they're plus 11 turnover margin. That's the number one stat when you think about winning and losing. I think they're doing a nice job of their offense taking care of their ball, the defense going and getting the ball.
Follow up on that. I mean, TJ, 7.5 sacks, but the 4 forced fumbles this year. Just how disruptive is he being?
Always is disruptive. A great player, an elite rusher, plays hard, good versus the run, good versus the pass. He's long, so you can see, has sacks where he just gets that long arm in there and can knock the ball out. So great player.
Integrated Preston Smith into that defensive front.
Yeah, he's playing on both sides. Again, speaking of length, like very long player, strong, good against the run, plays with effort. He can really be a factor in the run and the pass.
Defended Russell Wilson with Seattle and with Denver. Looking at him now, is there anything he's doing differently?
I coached him in the Senior Bowl too, Tony. Add that nugget. He's a great player. The style of which he plays hasn't changed very much. He can win off schedule. He can win on schedule. Great deep ball thrower. He's taking care of the ball. He's a great player.
With him and the combination of him and Arthur Smith, I guess.
You're saying from previous?
Yeah, from previous years.
Arthur does a great job. He's does a nice job marrying that run in the pass game. He's doing a nice job utilizing all of his guys, the receivers, the tight ends, the backs. So I think Russell fits in well.
So Jack Conklin played overall just with getting settled in and playing extensively for the first time in a while.
Again, a lot of guys, when you're coming off of injuries, you start to play yourself into shape, and Jack didn't have that preseason and really went in there and I think hasn't really missed a beat. He's done a nice job.
Watt is concerned, usually he does play over the right tackle, but do you envision them possibly moving him around at all?
You have to be ready for anything, I think, Mary Kay. He does primarily rush on the right side, but not always. There are times when he can line up really anywhere, but you certainly need to know where he is at all times.
With Taysom Hill, do you feel like the Steelers might have taken notice of that and try some things?
Well, I would expect them to. They used Justin Fields last week as well, so that's part of what they do, so you would expect that, yes.
In the forecast, does that change the preparation for Dustin Hopkins, especially after maybe what was a tough outing for him on Sunday?
No, it doesn't really change his preparation. We understand as a team, certainly Dustin understands that elements are part of this game, definitely part of it when you're playing down in the lake like we do, so we'll just deal with it, whatever it is.
Defense, you have so many guys back from last year. Why do you think all these big plays and everything have been happening to you guys?
I think we just want to play sound defense, Jeff. I think so much of playing our style of our brand of defense is just doing your job, and we just have to make sure we do that play in and play out.
So good in close games. Why are they so good at just grinding out wins the way they do?
I think it probably goes back to the earlier point about that turnover margin. If you do a good job taking care of the ball, you take it away on defense, you're typically setting yourself up in those final 4 minutes of a game to be in 4 minute and try to use the clock to your advantage and play that complementary ball. But I think it really goes back to that turnover margin.
What do you remember being around Mike Tomlin really early in your career?
Mike and I were together in 2006 with the Vikings. First day I showed up there was Mike's introductory press conference. It was my first day on the job. So got to know Mike for not even, I guess, a calendar year. We worked together, and then he was in Pittsburgh. But, good friend of mine. I have a ton of respect for what he does, who he is on the field, who he is off the field.
Introductory press conference?
I'm sorry?
Didn't you get an introductory press conference?
Not at that job.
Kevin, this is Chubb's first game back against the Steelers. Knowing him, do you think it brings out anything more emotionally in him?
I really don't.
Why is that?
He's focused. He wants to help us win any which way. He wants to do his job. I don't think he gets caught up in much else.
Jameis, obviously, you talked about him being more comfortable, third start, what have you. He looked that way. What was your assessment in general?
I think he continues to get better as he becomes more comfortable. I thought the pass protection in the last game was good, Tom, which allowed him to get through his progressions and get the ball, spread the ball around to guys. I think that's another big piece of this. When you can utilize all of your guys, I think it makes you more difficult to defend.
I was going to ask you about getting the ball, his ability to get the ball to so many different guys in downfield. Do you think the key to that is the protection that he had?
I think it's a main key to when you want to push the ball down the field. Obviously, you can throw a fade, and that comes up in quick game timing. When you want to throw a 20-yard in cut, that's off a 7-step timing. So protection has to hold up in those cases. So when you are pushing the ball down the field, it does require protection to be really good.
Whose decision was it to put Coach Vrabel on the sideline? Was it yours, ownership, his? And will you be back
Mine
on?
and Coach Vrabes. He's always welcome on the sideline.
Any signs of Kevin Hayward slowing down at all?
No. No signs.
In what ways have you even seen, aging, getting better? Maybe.
He's healthy. I think he was battling injuries going into last year, but he's as good as there is. I mean, he's so strong, good versus the run. Sacks quarterback, beats one-on-one blocks, gets his hands up, bats a lot of footballs. He's outstanding.
Been physical George Pickens is and what a challenge he would be for you guys.
They're doing a nice job utilizing him in a bunch of different ways. Mary Kay, I think he's obviously a down-the-field threat, as everybody knows, and he can go down on those 50-50 balls one-on-one, but he can catch quick game. They can run jailbreak screens to him. There's really a bunch of different things that they're doing with him.
So you know how this game goes. You grew up listening to WIP.
610 WIP.
You're 2-8. Your name's shown up on hot seat lists in the media. How do you feel going into this stretch, Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh?
I think probably because I grew up listening to that, I'm smart enough to not worry about outside noise. I get that's part of this gig. That's life in the big city. My sole focus is getting this team ready to get a win on Thursday night. That's it.
So much, or you talked about the game, just you didn't think effort necessarily was the biggest problem. Miles, I know, mentioned that at least. But at 2-8, you talk so much about your message to the guys and not trying to get stale. How do you make sure, guys, that the effort is still there?
I think we all understand, you understand where you are. You can't hide from that. But it doesn't change the fact that we have an opportunity Thursday night against an AFC North opponent. That on Thursday Night Football, all the things that go with that. I think the guys are excited for that opportunity.
Into this team, came from a different conference, different division. What have you learned about the AFC North in 5 years?
Yeah, I think there's some good football teams in this division. I think the coaching has remained the same since I've been in this division, which I know is rare in most divisions. But there's no easy game. There's no easy out when you're playing AFC North football. Well coached, good players on each side, and then you're playing in the elements in these games.
Can he return this season?
James Hudson? No, cannot.
Yeah, one more on Nick Chubb, if you don't mind. I know you don't take it for granted, and we don't either. But, I mean, it's almost, I don't want to call it miraculous, but the fact that he's even out there, Kevin, and is still productive after two major reconstructions of that knee, I mean, what more can you say?
Yeah, it's been incredible for me to watch, Tom, and I know he wants to just continue to help this football team win. I don't think he takes. I don't think he has the mindset right now of reflecting on that. But for me to see what he's gone through with those surgeries, with the rehab, getting himself in position to go play and go help this team and go be productive, I do think it's pretty incredible to watch. Okay, thanks, guys.